if you invested in Cisco in 2000, probably you were one of these gentlemen in this picture, right? But the point is, might also Palantir investor nowadays be like this gentleman, like this sheep? Are retail investor going through an error behavior? Let's find out. So Palantir Technology, we already talked about the company. Of course, I was joked because they say, you are bearish, you don't understand nothing. The company is up, up, up. We'll go to the moon. And actually, prices are going up. There's no other way if not up. Look, it's like vertical. If we look at the revenue, by the way, the growth is so astronomical. Let's find out. So, for example, the last quarter, it basically has grown 36%. Is this a stellar growth? Let's find out. For example, Snowflake. Let's look in some of the latest years. For example, in 2022 was growing 102%, right? In April was still growing 84%. Last earning report we have is 28%. So it's not different. It's not so different from Palantir nowadays. And by the way, has also a much higher performances before. Let's look, by the way, at Snowflake, for instance, price to sales ratio. That is a really interesting metric to understand this grow company. Well, if we look at the price to sales ratio, we're gonna see that results are not exceptional for Snowflake, right? So it's a company that has a price to sales ratio of almost 18. That is not low, by the way. It's not a low number, right? But if we look at Palantir, we're gonna see a much higher number that is in the range of 90. Let's wait a second and find out. So currently, okay, here the PS ratio is 100, actually is a little bit lower, but it's still super high. So you might think, yes, but Palantir is the new Oracle, is the new Salesforce, whatever. Let's see what went back in time, what Salesforce did back in time, right? So for example, during the period 2012, 2014, Salesforce was consistently growing over 30%, right? So 38% back in 2011, 37 still in 2014. So it's still, as you can see, by the way, softwares have like a cyclical behavior for the sales, but the growth was there, was very strong. So you might think, okay, so it was commanding a price to sales ratio like the one that Palantir has today. No, not that fast. That time, the top price to sales ratio that Salesforce was commanding was 11, right? In its wildest day. So the point is, Palantir, everybody's talking about, everybody from their room are talking about Palantir, about their ontology, people that apparently have no specific IT know-how. And I'm gonna do a video next to this one to explain the software environment. And so probably you will understand that Palantir has no moat, okay? By the way, Palantir has this growth, but is this something exceptional in the history? Well, probably yes. So let's compare with Cisco. Cisco back in the days was, is still the symbol of the mother of all bubbles. Nowadays, people, when they were talking about NVIDIA run, they said, okay, let's compare to Cisco in 2000. That was the wildest. Let's compare it in order to understand if we are in a bubble. But they probably did not know that Palantir was going to make pale NVIDIA, okay? So Cisco, if we go back in the 2000, had this growth, okay? So in 2000, it was at almost approximately $53, and 2 years earlier was around 7. Let's see the comparison with Palantir. So I put here on this Excel file, so Cisco back in 1988 was 7, then went 1 year after to 18 approximately. The ending price before the bubble exploded was 53. While Palantir, as of today, 9th of February, is priced at $110, while 2 years ago was almost $8. So if we look and compare this on a graph, we see that Cisco seemed like a bargain in comparison. I think this is incredible. So I know that some of you will argue and say, ah, you know what, Palantir is growing so fast, 36%. By the way, we have just seen that software companies can grow much faster than this. But by the way, you are going to say this. Well, you might be surprised, but Cisco, if we go in their annual report in the 2000, okay, so in the 2000, they had like 19 billions of revenue. The year before, 12. So basically, they were growing like 50% year over year. And also the prior year, they were growing 50%. So this one is not, I mean, is a no-brainer, this growth compared to Palantir. So I know some of you might argue, but because I already saw in the comment, we see but Cisco only does routers. Routers as just commodities. Yes, but back in time, routers were like the top high-tech technology, right? So consider this. The ontology of today might be worth nothing in 10 years' time. So you might say, okay, but then Cisco just dropped. No, in 2001, where the bubble was burst, it was still growing very fast, right? So it was incurring into a net income loss. By the way, Palantir can incur in the same net income if just the interest rate become to slow down, because the majority of net income of Palantir is due to their T-bill basically. But by the way, here looking at Cisco, the year after the bubble, so it was not decreasing its growth. It was still going up quite heavily, actually, right? So it's 90%. It was growing still like at 10%. Yeah, was slowing down, by the way. So what I want to tell you is, first, the valuation of Palantir are more unsustainable than Cisco Bank in 2000. That is the bubble, the mother of all bubbles. Also, that when you have a very huge growth and if it looks like it's unstoppable, and by the way, it's not the Palantir case, guys, the growth can stop from 1 second to the other. So we go back to Snowflake. Snowflake was the only game in town apparently just 2 years ago, right? Was growing so fast. Then all of a sudden starting to grow. Why? For many reasons. Because their client decided to move their budget, their IT budget somewhere else to reduce their spending because there are competitors. There is this Databricks company, let me show you, that is growing like 60%, right? So is growing 60% year over year, much faster than Palantir, and is insisting in the same field. And apparently, it is not listed. It's only worth, according to the valuation, it should be written somewhere around 50 billion. That is nothing compared to what Palantir is commanding. So, guys, if you don't want to be one of these gentlemen, stay away from Palantir. Thank you. Bye.